Guys, thank you for those of you who have been watching this channel. I would like to share with you that my book is finished. It's in the editing process, and I'm getting ready to release it next month, Lord willing, no, March, I mean. But before I do that, I would like to do a class to kind of give people an overview of the book. And so if you're somebody that's been struggling with getting prayers answered and been wondering, like, I've been praying for my son for years, or family members, or I've been praying about work, or just various unbelievable challenges, I believe this book will help you. I have tons of testimonies of my own life, but also what motivated me to do this book was it says in Luke chapter 11, verse 1, it says, and it came to pass as he was in a certain place, when he had ended praying, one of his disciples said, Lord, teach us to pray, as John's disciples taught them to pray. And it always amazed me about this because this disciple, it says, he said, Lord, teach us to pray. Now you have to imagine this. He must have seen Jesus do miracles, right? And he must have been impressed when he saw Jesus cleanse the leper and heal the sick and raise the dead and turn water into wine and walk on water. He must have seen him speak to the winds and waves and see them obey him. He must have seen him cast demons out of people. In fact, John said if everything Jesus did was written in a book, the world would not have a library big enough to house all of that material. Yet, this disciple said, Lord, teach us to pray. He must have recognized that he was the master of the universe because it tells us in John chapter 8, verse 56, before Abraham was, I am, right? Jesus healed a man who was a paralytic, and Jesus looked at the man and said, the Pharisees, so that you may know that the Son of Man has power to forgive sins. I say unto thee, take up thy bed and walk. And they said, only God can forgive sins, right? He must have seen when Jesus was sleeping and there were 50-foot waves hitting the boat. And Peter and John and the rest of the disciples were experienced fishermen. And they screamed out and said, Lord, do you not care that we are perishing? And Jesus woke up and rebuked the winds and said to the sea, peace, be still. And they said, what manner of man is this, that even the wind and the waves obey him? They recognized that only God could do that. Or he must have seen him or recognized that he was God because Jesus would just say things that would profound you. He said, you have heard it said by them of old, by Moses, but I say unto you, right? He said, so he must have seen him do some things and say, this must be the master. Also, he must have seen Jesus demonstrate acts of mercy, right? Maybe he saw when Jesus called Zacchaeus, a wealthy tax collector that nobody loved, down out of a tree, and said, Zacchaeus, I'm going to dine at your house tonight. Maybe he saw when they brought this woman to Jesus who was taken in adultery, and Jesus said, neither do I condemn thee, go and sin no more. He said, let the one among you who is without sin cast a stone at her. He must have seen that act of mercy. Yet he didn't say, Lord, teach me how to be merciful. He said, Lord, teach me to pray. He must have heard his messages. He must have heard him preach the Sermon on the Mount, blessed are the poor in spirit, blessed are they that mourn, blessed are the meek, blessed are they that hunger and thirst for righteousness, blessed are the merciful, blessed are the pure at heart, blessed are the peacemakers, blessed are they that are persecuted. Maybe he heard him talk about the parable of the sower, and how he said a sower went to sow, and as he sowed, some fell by the wayside, some fell among the stony path, and some fell among the thorns, and some fell on good ground. Maybe he heard when Jesus talked about the 5 foolish and the 5 wise, and maybe he heard it when Jesus talked about the sheep and the goat. Maybe he saw when Jesus spoke to the people and said, render to Caesar the things that are Caesar's. They said of him, never a man spake like this man. So he must have heard his messages. But yet he said, Lord, teach us to pray. And why would he ask such a question? I believe he recognized that the secret to God's power, the secret to Jesus having such profound messages, the secret to him being able to extend these acts of mercy and to be able to perform such miracles, and the fact that he was the master, was not because he was God, even though he was God, but he realized that Jesus, according to Acts 10:38, was a man anointed by the Spirit of God and with power, and because God was with him. See, when you spend time with God, he will spend time with you. And that's what I'm going to seek to do in these 5 weeks, in this mini course. I believe it will profoundly change your life. I'm going to share stuff that I've learned from the Lord in the last 35 years. So if you want to learn to pray like Jesus, and it's a learning experience for all of us, I'm not saying I've arrived. I don't think anyone on this planet will ever be able to pray like Jesus, but at least we can seek to learn as much from the word as possible. I would encourage you to click on this link below and register. It's only $27. With that $27, you will get 50 pages of my book, Learning to Pray Like Jesus. Also, the proceeds from your donations or your giving will also help me with being able to get everything done with the book. But also, like I said, you will get these 5 weeks of classes starting this Saturday from 11 to 12:30. And you will also get a digital copy of the book when it's completed, And so again, just go ahead and register, click on that link below, put in your information, name, email, all that other stuff, and everything will be sent to you. You'll get a Zoom link for you to be a part of the class. Everything will be recorded, so you can replay if you missed the classes. And I can guarantee, I'm sure you will walk away saying, truly, it was good for us to be here. All right. Again, my name is Troy. Please like this video. Please share it. Please subscribe to my channel. Please leave comments if you're watching, and invite others as well. You can share this with as many people as you like. I don't care. As many people that want to be a part of that class will I'm open to it. All right. So God bless. And I pray that it helps you to be more faithful, more fervent, more frequent in prayer.